Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Mom of Three's channel. Happy Monday. I hope you are doing well. I'm so glad you can be here. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Oh, yeah. So I'm glad you guys can be here. Um, if you saw the thumbnail, then you know what we're talking about. This one, it hurts, because I know most of us were hoping for a, you know, better income outcome. I'm sorry. Income. I see I'm still messing up. Outcome. I know we were all hoping for a better outcome. But we're gonna talk about the tragic updates in the disappearance and unaliving of Kada Scott from Philadelphia. Just gonna give it a few minutes, see if anybody is gonna join. In the meantime, how was your Monday? How's your Monday going? Mine's is pretty okay. Went to the supermarket, just chilling with the kids. They were off today from school. Over here where I am, they're off because of Diwali. I know kids are off because of like a parent or a teacher. I don't know, a teacher, a teach, some kind of teacher day. Yeah, but mines were off because of Diwali. I'm just gonna give it a few minutes. But I hope you guys are doing well. Um, yeah, so besides going to the supermarket, came back, of course, cleaned up a little bit. When you have a 5-year-old, you're always cleaning, right? I have some ribs in the oven. I've made some yellow rice with some candules, or what what they also call in English pigeon peas. But yeah, so thank you. Please hit that like button. Please, engage with me. If you know about this case, let me know your thoughts. Of course, please subscribe. Um, yeah. So in the last 24 hours, DNA results confirmed that the human remains found behind a vacant school in Germantown are hers. They are the remains of Kada Scott, unfortunately. The man already accused in her disappearance, 21-year-old Keon King, is now facing a list of new charges that include arson, conspiracy, tampering with evidence, and more. This live isn't just about reporting the facts. It's about keeping Kata's name alive, making sense of what happened, and talking about how we can protect each other. So if you're watching this on the replay, let me know in the comments if you were aware of this case. Did you hear of it? Were you following it? And if you did, what do you think about it? And if it is the first time you're hearing about this case, welcome in, and please listen to the story and let me know what you think. Did anyone here follow this case when she first went missing? Let me know what made you. How did it make you feel when you saw or heard of everything that was going on with this case and leading up to her disappearance, and you know when it came to light that she was missing, and then Keon be was taken in. Tell me, what were your feelings? I know when I heard about it, I definitely was hoping that you know we would have a better outcome, but I knew for myself, deep inside, I knew that it wasn't going to be good, that it was going to be tragic. Just, I mean, if you watch that video of him stalking those other women, you know coming in their backyard, looking in the window, you can just see the evil in him, you know or the sickness in him. I guess we'll find out in time, exactly what it is. But Kada Scott was only 27 years old. 27. A mom, a daughter, a woman with dreams. She worked at an assisted living facility in Chestnut Hill. She disappeared on October 4th after her night shift and never came home. Her family knew something was wrong right away when they couldn't reach her. Something that was totally out of character. She always answered her phone for her family. Usually when you're a mom, you make sure that you're picking up that phone no matter what. So it was out of character for her to not pick up her phone. Police and volunteers searched for days. Even 300 police recruits were sent to comb through parks, fields, and wooded areas around the Albury Arboretum and Ada Lewis Middle School. They found her debit card, her phone case, but tragically and unfortunately, not Kada. Can you imagine that? Knowing pieces of your loved one are out there, but not them? Where was Kada? Where, at that moment, I know everybody was thinking, where's Kada? Where was Kada? Yeah, thank you for those of you joining, whether you're joining the live or whether you are joining on the replay. Welcome in. Please hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share the live, please. I appreciate it. Let me know that you're here. If this was your sister or daughter, how long would you wait for before calling the police? Would you call right away as soon as you know they don't pick up their phone, maybe after like the third time? Would you wait a few hours? If it was out of character, I think most of us would be already thinking, something is not right. Most families know instantly when something's off. You know, we shouldn't have to prove that our loved ones what they're worth before they're taken seriously. If we call because we are worried, I would hope that the authorities would, understand why we feel this way we feel, especially if something's off. But unfortunately, many times they just think that they maybe met somebody out on a date, and not keeping it real with their family, and just doing them basically. But how many of you feel like missing person cases don't get enough urgency unless they fit a certain image? You know, it's definitely about the image. It's definitely about who you are, where you're from, you know? And that's the sad truth. And it is why community voices matter. you know I'm an advocate of the community working together and families working together. Um yeah, so this is, like I said, is tragic what has happened and what the outcome is. So let's Hey, Jamaica, welcome in. Okay, drive safely. Okay, drive safely. Thank you for sharing, by the way. I saw that you shared it. Thank you. So fast forward to this past weekend. Police got a tip and searched behind a vacant Germantown school. They discovered, unfortunately, human remains. Turn on the light. So yesterday, I'm sorry, my voice is a little low today, but this is a little bit. Oh, make sure it's plugged in. Make sure it's plugged in. Um, you know, this is not something that you should be like rowdy about and stuff like that. So, you know, it's definitely a different energy. Is the thing on? Sorry, guys. Hold on 1 minute. Sorry. Yeah. So, all right. See, stop. That's Yes. Sorry. All right. So yes, yesterday DNA confirmed that it unfortunately is Kada. Philadelphia DA Larry Krasner said that we are not done, meaning the investigation is still active. This case isn't over yet. Whew. Would you rather have closure even if the truth is horrible? You know, closure doesn't erase the pain, but it helps families fight for justice. Not knowing eats you alive. So I'm sure the family, although, this outcome is a tragedy, I'm sure that they do, you know, that they're at more at peace knowing exactly what happened. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But it's still, no matter what, of course, hurt. It's definitely hurting them still, and I hope they get the justice that they deserve and that Kada deserves. How do you think families get through something like this? I think that families have to, you know, go through prayer, the community, and the truth. But really, there's no getting over it. You adapt, you learn how to survive with it. But the next, few months are definitely gonna be hard to have to face, this. I don't even want to say man, they have to face Keon and, hope for the best. I'm sure they're gathering the authorities are gathering all their evidence. But, if you could speak directly to Kata's family right now, what would you want to tell them? I would want to tell them that we're definitely here for them, that we're hoping, for the best outcome. We're hoping that Keon gets what he deserves, you know. And I think he really enjoyed what he used to do, and this is just my opinion, I think that he enjoyed seeing these women scared and like messing with their mental. I think that he enjoyed it. So I really hope that he gets what he deserves. Now let's talk about Keon. Let's talk about the suspect. Keon King, just 21. He's now charged with arson, causing catastrophe, conspiracy, tampering with evidence, unauthorized use of a vehicle, recklessly endangering another person, and receiving stolen property. He was first arrested for kidnapping Kada, but new evidence just keeps stacking up. And now that they found the remains and they were identified, we're going to see a few more charges being stacked on top of these that I just read. Investigators say a stolen 2008 Hyundai Accent was used to move Kada's body. That car was stolen October 3rd and found burned October 7th. Cell phone data allegedly connects King to both the car burn site and the area where Kada's remains were found. You know, I honestly don't know if he acted alone. The timing, the burning car. You think someone had to help? Or he was able to do all this by himself? Do you really think that you can move a body and cover it up solo? I don't know. He might have had help, or maybe not. I mean, there are people that did this, kind of thing and actually worked alone. So I guess we will find out. That's, more evidence that I'm sure they're looking for to see if they find anything that points towards somebody helping him. Why no murder charge yet? Why? They're waiting on the cause of death from the medical examiner. That's what it must be, you know? Prosecutors are going to want airtight evidence so the defense can poke any holes, you know? So they're going to want all their T's, crossed, all their I's dotted. So they can jump to anything. So they're definitely waiting for that cause of death from the ME so nothing can slip through. If others helped, what should their punishment be? Definitely, to me, definitely equal accountability. Hiding or helping after the fact means you valued, you know, silence and loyalty to somebody that did something so bad to another human being, didn't care for someone else's life. So I think equal accountability, they, if somebody did help them, definitely they should be punished, you know, the same. You know, I definitely hope that she gets what you know, I hope that she gets justice, but you know, some, I'm dropping some candles in the chat to show my support for justice for her. And I hope you guys do the same. Um, you know, not a lot of people are in here today. I guess people are traveling, or maybe some people just don't find, you know, I don't know, this topic interesting, or maybe it's too tragic. But if you're listening on the replay, please drop some prayer hands, drop some candles, just drop any emoji that shows your support towards justice. Now, something very important, which gives context to why this investigation is so urgent. Keon King had a prior case earlier this year where he allegedly kidnapped and assaulted another woman. According to the official reports, King is accused of abducting a woman from in front of her home, forcing her into a car and assaulting her. The woman did survive. The woman survived. And guess what? That case was dropped when the alleged victim and a key witness failed to appear in court. What the heck? Why? I just don't, I just don't know. I just don't know why. Jackson.
Yes, mommy.
Lower your voice, please. And just in case, I just want to show you guys a picture of Keon King, just in case
2025.
you guys don't know how he looks.
There's more. 19,104.
So this right here, this is Keon King, 21, who has been arrested in the connection with Kada Scott, who went missing, and unfortunately her remains were found and identified this weekend. Yes, so that is him. I would like to be able to find that video of him trying to get into the other person's backyard and that he actually took them. And this is the beautiful, sorry, this is the beautiful Kada Scott.
Mommy, I'm gonna go fill.
May she rest in peace.
I'm
Kada
gonna go
Scott,
fill one and then 100.
you know, let's pray for her family.
Count to 0 to 100.
And let's pray for her justice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
All right, Jackson.
13, 14.
So in the Scott case, authorities have refiled those earlier charges, citing what they describe as a disturbing pattern of behavior. The DA questioned the bail and charging decisions in that prior case. They say King posted bail, was released, and remained free despite serious allegations. Why does this matter? It shows that the alleged stalking and abduction in the earlier case wasn't an isolated incident. It raises questions about how the system handles repeat violent behavior, especially when preliminary cases are dropped. Why didn't the victim go to court? I'm just wondering why. Why? You know? He could have been in jail and could have, stopped these current events from happening. This is a chance to reflect on early warning signs: stalking, harassment, trespassing, and how they can escalate into far worse crimes. Why do you think the earlier case was dropped? It's sad, and we always wonder why, but honestly, often victims are just scared. They're scared. They feel unsafe testifying. They feel like if the case doesn't go their way, that then they have to worry about the suspect coming back for them again. So they do have that fear that they live with every day. But that definitely shouldn't mean that no accountability is taken, you know? Have you ever seen someone you knew minimize harassment or stalking until things got worse? I know I have. It's rampant. And that's why we have to talk about it before it becomes tragic. So, what can we learn from this is to better protect ourselves or others. Trust your gut, document everything, and don't wait for something serious to happen before seeking help. Police haven't fully confirmed how King and Kada knew each other, but what we do know, in the days before she disappeared, Kada reportedly received harassing phone calls. King was the last person in contact with Kada before she vanished. And please, you guys, I'm sorry, I do try to talk about these, especially serious cases, not around Jackson, but unfortunately, he likes to be right by my side. He's scared to be in the other room by himself. So please excuse it. I try to be professional and don't want him to be around. But if I wait for him to go to sleep or whatever, unfortunately, it'll be too late in the night. So I just try to do it whenever I can. So my apologies. My apologies.
That's water.
So this case does highlight how harassment can be a precursor to more dangerous violence. You know, why do you think people ignore harassment warnings? Usually it's because they think it'll stop, but too many times it actually does not, and it actually escalates. So it is important when you're getting those, harassment warnings, or, they start full blown harassing you, calling you, calling you, hanging up without saying anything, call you 50 million times without you picking up, texting you 100 times a day, just hoping that one of those times that you actually reply. If you've ever felt unsafe and been ignored when you have you ever felt unsafe
It won't close.
and been ignored when you try to speak up? Yeah, I know a lot of people that have felt that way, but those gut feelings are real. Trust them. Always trust those gut feelings. If you feel unsafe, tell somebody, make a report. Tell somebody, tell the authorities, have it on paper, even though it's just, a lot of people say it's just paperwork. Have it on paper, because if something tragic happens, at least you had it on paperwork, and there was always a trail, a paper trail. Do you think policy or community programs could step in earlier? I think 100%, because prevention isn't just police work. It's neighborhood work, it's family work, it's friends watching friends, family watching family. You know, we can definitely at least try to prevent these tragedies. Not saying that it always work or is gonna work, but at least to try, you know? So I do want to say, Kata's family did release a statement, and their statement was that our hearts are shattered. We are grateful for the outpouring of love and prayers from around the nation, and trust that justice will prevail. That was the statement that Kata's family released. They also thanked volunteers, the police, and members of the public who helped spread Kata's story. Hey, Carla. Hey, Lorraine. Welcome in. Welcome in. I'm just giving an update about Kada Scott's story, the tragic ending to what we were all hoping would, be a better outcome. Unfortunately, her remains were found this weekend and were identified as being her. The ME still hasn't released the cause of the unaliving, but unfortunately and tragically, it was her. It is her. So if the family was watching, what would we tell them? What we would want to tell them? I'd want to tell them, that we see them, we feel their pain, and you know, I know they're not gonna stop until justice is done, and we're gonna be, you know, virtually we are gonna be with them until that justice is served. So justice for Kada. Yeah, I was hoping for, I was praying for a better outcome also, but when I heard the story and then I saw, you know, Keon and the video of the other incident, I definitely knew, unfortunately, that this would be the case, that this would be the outcome, you know? Do you think that the media gave this enough attention? Do you think that they gave Kada Scott enough attention? I don't think they did. But I know we definitely made sure she wasn't forgotten. Everybody that, grabbed this story and was talking about it, that shared it, we definitely, made sure that she wasn't forgotten and that we were looking for her and hoping, you know, for better outcome. Yeah. That's the power of community. The media definitely didn't do a great job, you know, letting people know and grabbing people's attention about this. But I hope they are now, because people need to know. Who knows if there's other, incidents or victims of Keon that will come, you know, will come out and tell their tragic stories as well. But unfortunately, this one ended with someone not being able to tell us what they went through. So this case forces all of us to think about how quickly
Mommy,
life can change.
do you want a cupcake?
Hold on. How quickly life can change and how unsafe
Bye-bye.
some spaces still are. Kada's case happened in her own city after work, doing something routine. I mean, some people even said she didn't make it to work. So, in that part, I'm not even sure what really happened. Did she make it to work? I don't know, because I think some of her coworkers say that they didn't even see her. Yes, they have him in custody. They do have him in custody, but now they're wondering if he worked alone, because they don't believe that he was able to move the body and hide everything on his own. So I think they're investigating to see if somebody else helped him so they could be held accountable too. But we all know there are people that do evil things by themselves. So, what precautions do you personally take when you're out late or meet someone unfamiliar? Well, first of all, I rarely meet anyone unfamiliar, and definitely not late at night or, in general. Like, you know, um, I definitely always believe in the power of,
Mommy,
having your friends with you, not leaving your friends.
you want,
If you go out
you
with,
want,
if you go out,
you want,
if you go out with
you
your
want,
friends, you come
you
back
want
with your
something
friends. You leave
candy?
with your friends.
I
You
need
never
the
leave
candy.
anywhere without the
Ow.
people you went with. So you read that it was another man and woman. Wow. When I haven't read up on that yet. Um, when ask for information and stuff, I ask for things like for them not to tell me any rumors that can't be that's not concrete evidence. Like if it's just a rumor or if they don't have proof, I really don't like to talk about it until there's the proof. So maybe that's why, but I'm not sure. Yeah. Yeah, don't leave no one behind. That's right. You leave together, you come back together. You don't let any of your friends meet anybody while you're out and let them leave with them either. Because it could have about a bad outcome, you know? Do you think like people should share locations with their family members? Do you think apps or trackers give false security? you know I don't think for security, I think they do help, but awareness is definitely still your best defense. And I do think that is important, especially nowadays with all these tragic things that are happening. I think it is good to give somebody your location, your best friend, your cousin, your one of your kids. Somebody should be able to track your location just in case, you know. But why do you think missing person cases, especially for women of color, get less coverage? Because honestly, I don't think that this was covered too much. Maybe in Philadelphia itself, but definitely not anywhere else. Lorraine says she has a tracker on her kids, and I tell my family where I am. Yeah, you have to tell them where you are, but I think being able to, you know, them being able to see your location is important. Because what about if you get taken out of where you said you were going? You know. And it's not only, I think nowadays you have to think all crazy and unfortunately different. Not only do you have to have your location on your phone, you might have to hide it somewhere on your clothing, because more than likely if something bad happening to you, they're gonna take away your phone. They're gonna turn off your phone so that somebody is not able to track you. But if you're gonna have to hide something on your clothing, in your clothing, pinned inside. Like, it's just crazy the things that, I mean, if you're out there, doing things and you're still meeting people, dating different people, you might still have, unfortunately, you have to think outside the box. And it's sad that, we have to think like that these days, but it just keeps getting worse and worse by the day. We keep seeing cases like this, We keep seeing cases like this. So even if it's inside your sock, you know what I'm saying? Inside your sock, like on the bottom of your sock or pinned to your sock even. But Wait, I just wish that things like this wouldn't occur and we don't have to think of different ways to hide things to track us just in case. Yeah, I don't trust a lot of people either. I do not either. And you know what they say, no new friends, because you don't know really, you don't know how they really are. They might be the sweetest people, but you don't know once you get like a little drink in you, or you don't know if they envious of you or whatever. So you do have to be on the lookout.
Okay.
So yeah, you know but how can we keep Kata's story alive after the headlines fade? I think, just by keep talking about her, sharing updates. I'll definitely be, checking for the updates for when Keon goes to court, checking on the investigation and what they find out. Definitely looking for the ME reports on her cause of, unaliving, and of course turning the anger into action. Talk about it, be about it, you know be more of a community. We got to support each other, volunteer, encourage, just encourage, you know people being together. Like I've been preaching all these days in all these different topics. No matter what, it takes a village. It just takes a village for almost every situation. Yes, say her name. That's right, Kada Scott. Justice for Kada Scott. You, as a, I'm not even a family member, and I already think like, what were her thoughts, her last moments, while she was going through what she was going through. And I think anybody that's empathetic, to people, feel that way. You wonder what they were going through those last, few minutes. Did they struggle? Did they know what was going to happen to them? Did they see it coming?
No, it's not quite right. Mommy, it's not quite right, Mommy.
It's not quite right. Hey, Carissa.
No.
Happy Monday. Welcome in. Thanks for joining.
Mommy, it doesn't fit.
Okay, it doesn't fit. Okay. So, yeah. So this is a tragic, ending to this story. Hey, Tamik. Welcome in. Welcome in.
Oh, it's fit.
Happy Monday. You all off work? You off work and getting ready for dinner? So yeah, so let's zoom out because Kata's story echoes many others. How many women go missing or harmed each year with barely a headline? We've got to ask, what needs to change? You know? Should there be stronger laws for ignoring harassment or early warning behaviors? Yes, because too often we wait until lives are lost. Dinner is cooking. All right. And Lorraine is frying some fish right now. I got some ribs in the oven and some rice on the stove. But yeah. So what drives someone like King to do this? Control, rejection, rage, sickness? It's all of that. Cuz someone who stalks and abducts is not seeking love, they're seeking power. I really think that he enjoyed seeing women with that fear on their face of not knowing what's gonna happen. I think he enjoyed that. I really think he enjoyed it, especially in that video, of him coming up to the window and harassing those women. I really think that he was enjoying that, enjoying seeing the fear in their face. Yeah, some barbecue ribs. I was in the mood for it. They've been in the oven for like, oh, they're gonna be nice and tender. They've been in there for like 2.5 hours already. Yeah, they're definitely gonna be nice and tender. They're gonna be falling off that bone. But yeah, I think it's all of it. I think he really enjoyed seeing, the fear in these women's face. But how do we teach respect and boundaries early? Maybe at home or at school, you know? It definitely starts there. It starts at home, it starts at school. We wait until someone's violent before we act, and that definitely has to change. We have to try to steer them the right way from the beginning, from a young age. We have to instill what's right and what's wrong. Teach these as teach people how to respect each other, whether it's a man towards a female or a female towards a man. you know we have to let them know, that we care about them, that they don't have to seek love somewhere else. But you know, what one action can you take this week to protect someone in our circle? I just think that communication is the key. If somebody's harassing you, please speak up. Tell somebody, tell a family member, tell somebody that's close to you. If you don't feel um comfortable talking to a family member, if you're in school, talk to somebody in school, talk to a professor, talk to the guidance counselor, talk to somebody, find somebody to talk to the authorities. Hey Neo, welcome in. you know this is a very tragic story, and we definitely have to spread the word. And we do, because the media didn't do a great job on talking about this. Yeah, Neo. Not for long, but for like 4 months or so. Um,
Yay! Wee!
for like 4 months or so, I've been going, you know, on more frequently. But for the last couple of months, I've been talking about stuff. But thank you for joining. Welcome in. Hope you're having a great Monday. Yeah. So I was talking about Kada. I was talking about Kada Scott and the tragic findings of her remains, and them identifying, and that they were identified as her. Hold on, because Jackson thinks I'm playing games. So yeah, so thank you. So share this live, guys. I've been on for almost an hour, and like I said, I have some ribs in the oven, some rice. So I'm gonna just start closing out. But let's honor Kada Scott. Say her name. Justice for Kada Scott. She was a beautiful young lady that life was cut too short. But one that's already inspired a community to demand justice. We need to, continue to say her name, continue to, seek justice for Kada. So, let's take a moment, of silence, and hope that justice is found for her. I do hope that justice is served. I hope they find all the evidence that's needed, you know, to put him and let him stay where he belongs, cuz this is not the first time that he has I don't think it's the first time he has done something this tragic. Think that this is the first time that he was caught. The other woman that went through something with him that he supposedly kidnapped, unfortunately, she didn't go to court, so they dropped her case. But, I don't think it was only two incidents that occurred. There's definitely more, and I hope that these people, speak up because, you know, I'm pretty sure it just was not only two incidents. So, justice, of course, doesn't happen overnight, but our voices do make it harder for cases like this to be ignored. We'll keep following any court updates, including new charges, hearing dates for Keon, of course, and I'll be right there ready to give you guys the updates, so we can talk about it. You know. Thank you for being here. If you're watching the replay, thank you. Thank you for, getting this far. Please hit that like button. Share the live, please. And of course, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. If you or someone you know feels unsafe, please reach out. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800 9 no, I'm sorry, 1-800-799-SAFE, 1-800-799-SAFE. So I'm just gonna add that in, so if anybody watches this later, they can have that number just in case, because you never know. I'll also add it afterwards in the description. But if anybody watches the live and is reading the comments, uh, you know, just so they can have it. So let me put the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 800-799-SAFE. So, yeah. So thank you for watching, for commenting, for passing through. If you came in late, please watch the replay so you can be updated. We will continue, like I said, to keep you updated. And we're gonna keep Kada's story alive. Kada Scott. We're gonna keep Kada Scott's story alive. So thank you for being here again, guys. And I will catch you on the next video. Have a great Monday.